opportunity to be here in the studio this morning with David and I and Colton. And our winner was Becky from Long Prairie. Good morning, Becky.
Good morning.
Glad you're here too. And so Becky is going to draw the first question. We've got 10 questions in envelopes here. She's going to draw the first one and ask Colton.
You have all interesting question marks on there. That's cool.
You decorated them nice.
That's the one with just one question mark. So it should be an easy one, correct?
Should be. Maybe.
No,
You're living out your faith in a very public way. What do you think is the best way for Christians today to reach out and have an impact on our world?
Wow, that's a great question. We should go with the single question marks.
It's not the easiest.
Yeah. Man, I don't think there's necessarily a best way. But the way that I found, I guess, connected the best with me was just living by example. When I was on the TV show, I didn't want to come across preachy or anything like that, so I just looked for more opportunities, whether it be questions that Ryan would ask me or just opportunities to stand apart, just to be different. I think if you show people what God's love looks like in your own life, they're going to want it, even if they don't know what it is. So that'll open the doors to talking about it. So it's better to walk it out first than talk about it first. So,
Great answer.
Yeah.
All right, well, we will have more questions.
Still partly cloudy with a high of 80 degrees today. Tonight, a chance for rain and thunderstorms to develop. The storm should stick around tomorrow as we reach a high near 80 degrees. This weekend is a chance for scattered rain and thunderstorms with a high in the 80s. Right now, it's 63 degrees.
This is Amazing Grace. Good morning, it's Jess, David, and Colton Dixon joining us live in the studio this morning. We're doing questions with Colton. Basically, we put a bunch of questions in envelopes, so we don't know which question is going to be picked next, but David's going to do the honors.
Now, Colton was an American Idol contestant, so Colton, this question involves your time on American Idol. What was your favorite performance while you were a contestant on American Idol, and why?
That is a great question. Ironic enough, it was actually after I was eliminated. It's super ironic, and it's always weird when people tell me that was their favorite performance. But I got to perform a song called Everything by Lifehouse. It's my favorite worship song of all time. That was a chance for me just to get connected with God again. My last opportunity on stage, but just a chance for me to focus on Him. I really had no idea what was going on around me. It was just a cool moment for me spiritually, and yeah, I love that moment.
As an American Idol fan myself, I have to say that was my favorite performance too, and there was a moment where you were just lost in worship and dropped to your knees, and I think Christians around the world who were watching it were just like, yes, and it was just an awesome moment. And obviously it was very personal, you weren't putting on a show, but I have to say that was my favorite too. And Becky, who's our listener guest who's here this morning, is nodding her head over there, so I think she agrees that was her favorite as well. But we're going to talk more with Colton. We'll have some more questions for Colton coming up in just a few minutes.
Good morning, it's Jess and David, and we're here with Colton Dixon, who graciously stopped by to hang out and talk a little bit with us. And we've got Becky in the studio as well, who won an awesome time to hang out with all of us, and she has another question from Facebook for Colton.
This one has 5 question marks on it.
Oh,
So
man.
it's either harder or easier.
Good to know.
If you weren't a music artist, what job would you most likely be doing now?
Yeah, these are great questions. Whoever came up with these are brilliant. I would be doing ministry of some kind. I felt I was called to music ministry when I was 13. But just like the bridge in You Are says, if I had no voice or tongue, I would dance for you, or I'd find a way to still worship you. And the same goes for what I feel called to, which is just ministry. Music is just a tool to do that. So I don't know if that'd be a youth pastor or missionary or worship pastor, whatever. I would figure something out and be doing the same thing, just with a different tool. So, yeah.
Good. All right, well, we will have more questions with Colton Dixon coming up. Right now, this is Big Daddy Wee.
Thanks for making us a part of your day. It's Jess and David, and we're joined by artist Colton Dixon in the studio this morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you for submitting your questions for Colton on Facebook. We've got another question.
Okay, sorry, we were laughing before we got on here. I'm trying to gather myself here. Okay, Colton, your new album comes out at the end of August, right?
Correct.
What is the one main thing that you hope people will hear in the songs and the sound of your new album?
Another great question. You guys are great questionnaires. The one thing that kind of spawned the title of the record, Anchor, and that song, just the theme of the record, I realized how easy it was after my first tour as a Christian artist, how easy it was to get swept up in a schedule, and how easy it was to get distracted from your own personal quiet time and Jesus time. I had to come to terms with, okay, my time on stage does not count as my personal Jesus time. Whenever you have a job in ministry or whatever it is, like your hour and a half at the pulpit on Sunday doesn't count as your personal Jesus time, and my time on stage doesn't count. So I finally came to terms with that and realized how important it was to make my own personal time, but man, I realized I needed that constant.
Yeah.
Because I could tell a difference whenever I didn't. So that came in the form of Anchor, this idea behind that song, and that really turned into a theme of the whole record of just, man, fighting through the distractions and finding that stability, and we can all find that in God. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can relate to that. Working in radio, sometimes you feel like you're quote-unquote at church all week, and so, why do you need that on the weekend? But it's a totally separate thing where we need to be, fed in that separate way. So that's awesome. Well, your new single off your new album is called More of You, and that's what we're going to do.
Did you know you can find a list of local businesses that...
Forecast this morning.
Hey, it's another beautiful day in store, partly cloudy with a high of 80 degrees today. Tonight, a chance for rain and thunderstorms to develop. The storms could stick around tomorrow as we reach a high near 80 degrees. This weekend is a chance for scattered rain and thunderstorms with highs in the 80s. Right now, it's 66 degrees.
And no matter what, good morning, it's Jess and David. Special guest Colton Dixon is here with us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And we've got Facebook questions submitted by you, and we're asking Colton some questions this morning. And Colton, you get to pick the question out of the envelopes with the question marks on them as to what your next question will be.
I love the element of surprise here. It's so fun.
From the golden envelope.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I got the really easy one.
Oh, okay.
Do I collect anything?
Oh, okay.
So I'll try and keep this short. I went to Universal Studios with my family when I was little, and it was right when the Hulk movie came out, and they had a bobblehead, and I was like, man, it's really cool. It's like my parents don't normally, when we go to theme parks, we spend so much to get there and go to the park. We normally don't do the souvenir thing, but I was like, Dad? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. And I had a little bit of money too, so by the time I left Universal, I had 3 or 4 bobbleheads with me.
Okay.
And that's where it all started. Currently, I have probably 30 different bobbleheads showing at my house, all superheroes for the most part. And then as we were releasing my first record, so I can talk about this because he's staring at me right now, my label thought it'd be an awesome idea to make a bobblehead of myself and send it to some different radio stations, and that's what we did.
Yes, and we have him looking down on us, nodding his head yes right now here first.
Yeah, he will tell you exactly what you want to hear.
Bobbleheads. Yeah, that's why we like him, because he's always saying yes. He's always nodding yes.
Positive and encouraging.
Yes.
Yep.
We're going to talk more with Colton Dixon coming up. This is Glorious Day. Good morning. It's Jess along with David and special guest Colton Dixon in the studio this morning. And also Becky, who was our winner that gets the chance to hang out with us this morning. Good morning, Becky. You're from Long Prairie, right?
Yes.
Yes, and Becky has been a long-time listener, and we're so glad to have her here. We're doing questions with Colton this morning, and Becky's going to ask the next question.
This is going to be a hard one.
Oh, boy.
Who inspires you?
Oh, man. I won't Jesus juke anybody. Who inspires
Okay,
you?
other than Jesus and God, which are
Actually, growing up, I listened to Christian music. Growing up in Nashville, there were a couple different stations, so I loved Christian music, and people like Casting Crowns, even, and Stephen Curtis and Michael W. Smith, and then we got into more of the rock era Mirror for me, and Skillet, and you name it. I love Christian music. So that was, a lot of inspiration came from that. Just as an individual, my parents are great leaders. I really look up to my dad, and his dad, just great men of God. So very thankful that I have those people to turn to and to look up to.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are just a few.
And you mentioned being inspired by other Christian music. So another question we had was, if you could pick any artist or band to tour with that you haven't already, who would you love to go out on the road with?
Switchfoot.
Switchfoot?
I'm a very big Switchfoot fan.
Well, you'll be sort of in the same area as Switchfoot. Sunshine Music Festival is next week.
Totally.
It plays on Thursday, they play on Saturday, and probably won't cross paths, but,
Probably
you know,
not.
general vicinity, same festival.
Totally, yeah, baby steps.
We're hanging out with Colton Dixon this morning. The conversation continues in just a bit. Right now, here's Meredith That's Meredith Andrews and Open Up the Heavens. Good morning. Thanks for making us a part of your day. It's Jess and David and special guest Colton Dixon, Spirit 92.9 artist and American Idol contestant in the studio with us. Been having a great conversation, asking Colton some questions from Facebook that you submitted, and Becky won the opportunity to hang out with us this morning. It's so great to have you here, Becky. And she's going to ask our last question of the morning.
One of the listeners, Teresa, asked how you stay connected to God in church while you're on tour.
That is a great question. My goodness, so many great questions this morning. I think the best thing that you can do, like I talked a little bit about earlier, with the new album, is making it a priority. To have your quiet time in it, to have your Jesus time, even if it's just for a few minutes. But what I've learned works best for me is as soon as I wake up in the morning, whether I'm in a bunk on a tour bus or in a hotel or whatever, before I roll out of bed, I'll open my iPhone, I'll go to the Bible app or my Jesus Calling app, which happens to be a book sitting right next to me, and
That's a great one.
and just spend my Jesus time, read through until I hit something that strikes me for that day. It can be one verse, it can be a chapter, and then I'll reflect on that for a few minutes, and I'm good to go. But man, it's really hard, especially in Christian industry. Most shows happen on weekends, so most Sundays I'm gone. So whenever I am home on Sundays, even if I get in really late on a Saturday night, I need to be in my home church, just because it's probably been a while since I've been there last. So definitely making that a priority when I'm in town. But yeah, those are just some things.
So just being creative, and it's great that we have the technology, so you can
absolutely
do that on your phone and stuff. Awesome. Well, Colton, it's been such a pleasure having you here today. He's going to do one more weather forecast for us after David takes a look at the news here, but just so glad that you're able to stop by and visit us here, and thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now listen, whose album comes out August 19th to do the weather forecast for us.
And it's another beautiful day today. Partly cloudy with a high of 80 degrees today. Tonight, a chance for rain and thunderstorms.